What is going on YouTube? Welcome to Transatlantic Wrestling Talk. I am your host always, Andy. As always, with my co-host Dale. How we doing, brother?
Andy, I love the fact that we just flickered on a little bit of Chariot and a horse that carried the queen in here. It was a very bright spot because we're going into King of the Ring season. We are in week 2 of it. And I asked you last week, or you kind of forced it upon me because I'm still having payback due from a certain pay-per-view from WCW in 1996, but we won't go there. But anyway, you told me, let's do King of the Ring 1998, all right, which was a very, 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 very awesome pay-per-view to watch, and it translates very well today, and that's something that we like to talk about here. So I would like to throw it over to you on how we're going to start this wonderful event where the cover of the VHS was Sable on, which I'm okay with, but I just had to point out one other aspect here. Mr. Donnelly!
Well, she wasn't even on the fucking card. She wasn't even on the card, the douchehead. Honest to God, I can't stand her.
Right, but it was always some sort of element of put the hot chick on the poster for like Coors Light ads, or look at Tori Wilson. Look at Tori Wilson with the Great American Bash ad. You know, it's sold. Yeah, but I agree, man. Like, why the hell was she there? They'll bring her up on the card though, and she will come into the match. But we won't get there yet. It's a very good story with why she's in there, as much as crappy as she is, albeit she's very attractive. I was looking at her, I go, man, she was a good looking chick, but there were others out there. But first and foremost, we go right into King of the Ring 1998. How do we start this off, Andy?
We started off with a little bit of a 6-man tag action. And do you know what? I looked at this at first and I thought, ugh. But then, do you know when I actually watched it? It was great.
Yep. Yeah.
We're going to start. Great.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that it's just one of those elements. Once in a while, you get these where you have a tag team and they throw somebody in here. And they end up kind of meshing well and they get along and they're very fun. So it's Taka Michinoku, one of the most impressive and underrated athletes that WWE ever had, correct? I shouldn't even say athlete.
And he has a great finisher.
The Michinoku driver, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's a scoop slam into a kind of like a pile driver ass sort of sit down. How would you describe it?
Yeah, more like a scoop slam into a kind of where you just drive the heads into the floor.
Yeah.
The only way to describe it, but it's a hell of a move.
And smooth. It looks smooth too, and it had great impact on there. Headbangers are people that you and I love a lot, and they got the kind of crap end of the stick in this point. As we'll talk about, we might go into with the NWA invasion at some point, but that's a very interesting topic. You could probably go on. It's like a 20-minute conversation, but we won't have that here. We might have it at another roundtable event. But anyway, we see Taka Michinoku headbangers face off against Irontie before they choppy anybody's pee-pee. All right. And who was the manager? Yamaguchi-san?
Yamaguchi-san.
Yamaguchi-san.
The Yamaguchi-san.
So good. What's with you British people? Yeah, what's with you British people just pronouncing anything from Asia like so well?
We can pronounce most things. We can promote most things well because we invented the English language.
So you're saying that your dialect carries over and translates well throughout the world. Is that correct?
It does, because you Americans are lazy.
Like I said, you need to get over our breakup.
But when you speak y'all, you all, do you know what I mean? You kind of like to try and mix things rather than
what am I drinking?
You all.
What am I drinking right now?
Tea.
Coffee.
Oh, coffee. Coffee. It's like when you say ass. Do you know, ass is a donkey, arse is a bum.
What do you call a cigarette, though?
A cigarette?
I thought there was another term, but we won't get into that. Happy Pride
Oh,
Month,
Siggy.
everybody.
You say Siggy. Siggy
I
as
thought
well.
there was something. I thought there was something else. Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Oh, fag. I get you. Yeah.
The first time I heard of that, I never heard anybody refer to it, and I was like, that's a little weird.
Well, yeah, happy Pride Month, everyone, to be honest with you, because stuff like that really annoy it doesn't half annoy me, honest to God. As I always say, happy Pride Month, whatever tickles your pickle, whatever strums your plum, crack on.
Do you like the pun there, everybody? Do you like the
Yeah,
pun ever?
Let's get back to the wrestling anyway. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
really, and I thought this was a really good opening match, and considering for a 6-man tag, it only got 6 minutes 44. It went really, really well, and I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, time wasn't even needed to be calculated in this because it did
No.
flow so well between these 6 combatants. I would say before, once in a while, you have a tag team and you just throw a random guy in there. And one other case in mind that actually, I think of is when Spike Dudley and Bubba Ray teamed with Jeff Hardy, WrestleMania Survivor Series. I'm sorry, Survivor Series 2002, and they just kind of flowed well together. Yeah. Michinoku and the Headbangers get the W at the end of the match. And then they do that funny little thing where the Headbangers bounce off the ropes and then collide into each other. And Michinoku ended up embarking in that same journey with them. So it was kind of funny. Yeah. I've been to a variety of metal concerts. I've never seen people dance like that. Just had to point that out there. It's false.
I have in the UK, yeah. I've seen the mosh pits in the UK.
Would they bounce like that?
Yeah, and kick each other and bang into each other and all sorts of madness.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys, what do you guys have? Take Back? Is that what you mosh out to? Is that your cup of tea?
Well, Ozzy Osbourne, we made heavy metal, really, didn't we?
Tony Iommi did, because he sliced off his finger and had a bottle cap onto his finger. Did you know that? Yeah.
No, it didn't. There you go.
He melted it on there because he was not a welder, but he melted the bottle cap on there so he could actually have a fuller finger, and that's why he had that heavy.
You think of most of the best rock people, yeah? They come from the UK. The Beatles, Rolling Stones. Do we need to go on The Clash?
Yeah, but you also came out with the Lost Prophets, and we know what happened with Mr. Watkins.
Slipknot were English, weren't they?
Iowa. That's Iowa.
Oh, are they? Yeah. I didn't know.
They had an album named Iowa. So,
right.
That's one band I never seen live. But anyway.
Ozzy Osbourne, boss.
Yeah, the god. He's fantastic. Anyway, so as we continue, we're going into round 1 of the King of the Ring tournament. And good to see Tennessee Lee here, Mr. Fuller, in action.
Do you know what? It always pissed me off, Jeff Jarrett having a manager, because he had the Roadie, didn't he? The Road Dog. He had Tennessee Lee. In the end, he had Deborah for a bit. That Lion bitch has been going out again recently this week, hasn't she? She must have lost it. She must need some money, because she seems to be floating about again.
What happened?
Going on about how Steve Austin beat her up and all the rest of it.
We're not condoning that stuff here. But,
no, we're not condoning it. But the thing that annoys me is nothing's being said for a while, and now it's like she's coming out, and it's like, oh, about this, do you know what I mean? It just screams to me that somebody needs money, because if it was really the case where she got that badly injured and stuff like that, then why is she not being going around speaking out about the story, making it better for people? Why is it only now when she's getting interviewed on podcasts that she decides to say all this?
Yeah, it's like somebody all of a sudden uncovered some more truths to this. It's like, well, why didn't you say this at the time? And then again, domestic abuse sucks. It's awful, and we're not here to talk about that. But it's like, what do you? You're right. It's like, what more needs to be said? And my whole thing is, if somebody's in trouble, you listen to them. You don't speak, you listen. But
like 15 years later, she comes out again and starts with it when she's doing,
Yeah, we're not to get too into it, but that seems to be the sign of the times over the past 10 years.
You know me, mate. I'll always ever speak about the fact of, like, I call a spade a spade. It's not about domestic violence or anything else. It's just about I call a spade a spade. I call it as I see it, and with that one, it just reeks of thingy.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I really do think that, maybe there was something that sparked it up, but what could potentially do that? That's what I want to know. Like, what instigated that? I think that's
Yeah,
the main question here.
money, I think. But anyway, we move back into the King of the Ring. This was a good match. This one, it really was. But Jeff Jarrett, he's a general, isn't he, in the ring, and he was all right. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Wasn't great. Wasn't great by any means, but it wasn't bad either. Shamrock locked in the ankle lock, which seemed to be a theme of the night for him, and he defeats him to go
Yeah.
through to the finals of the King of the Ring tournament.
It's amazing as soon as you see, and this is when you will see this more and more as years go on, when somebody gets set up for submission, when they fall flat on their face, and especially in the Attitude Era, and you knew that there was an ankle lock being applied, as soon as Jarrett would fall, the crowd popped because they knew an ankle
Yeah.
lock was going to happen right away, and that's amazing. When you're anticipating a submission move,
Yeah.
like I even go ahead, man.
It was good storytelling as well because Tennessee Lee tried to interfere to help Jarrett and ends up costing Jarrett, and I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you'll see another interference later on, which I'll go a little bit more in depth about later on in the day or event. But I will say, yeah, Tennessee Lee, Robert Fuller, apparently has one of the biggest penises ever in wrestling locker room history lore, and had no problem showing it. Guy had a great mind. Fuller had a great mind for the business. And I love the fact that they brought him in here. Such a great mouthpiece. I think a lot of WWE fans won't remember him, but more so in WCW when he was ready to marry who was it? Oh, Sensational Sherry. Well, Miss Sherry. Yeah, Jeff Jarrett lays down and gets the ankle lock applied to him. Round one's over. You're going to see something cool going on here too, because you're going to see Michael Cole start interviewing people right on the ramp, and you don't really
Yeah.
see that anymore. And
Well,
I like
no.
that aspect of like its initial reaction. And these guys are gassed up, so you're not really expecting poetry from them, but they do a good job. I mean,
and it's a bit of real life, isn't it? A bit of realisticness.
yeah, it's look at Dana White and what he's been doing for the past 20 some odd years with Joe Rogan coming out there and these guys hands on the hips, all gassed up like I gave it my all. That's one tough son of a bitch, and
Yeah.
it's just they don't. The good thing is that they know that the tournament is still going on, so they don't give credit to their opponents at this point. And they won't because it's wrestling, it's professional wrestling, but they'll just say on to the next one. And I love that. That's like business in hand here. So Shamrock gets the win here. Next match, boom, we go into Nation of Domination Rock.
Oh, the best version at the beginning. I don't know why that's my best version, but so good. The bum bag, the law.
He's my second favorite version of The Rock. And because I think all right, I'll get into it. His Hollywood Rock stuff was was probably the greatest heel work that he could ever do. Hollywood Rock getting out there with a guitar and singing to people and trashing the crowd. The crowd, because at this point, this is right after he lost a little bit after he lost to Brock Lesnar and just soaked it in, and the crowd still loved him. So you'd still get the cheers, but the boos is, if they're talking about, I think they're in Pittsburgh for this one. So let's say the Penguins. Just anyway, this Nation of Domination Rock. This will lead to, I'll say this again, one of the biggest debuts ever in the Attitude Era. Okay. He's going on against Dan Severn, a man who is an absolute legend. If you ever watched, was it regular MMA at the time or was it UFC?
Yeah, it was the UFC, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the guy, we had guys like Gracie, Royce
Shamrock.
Gracie, Shamrock themselves, and
Tito Ortiz.
they were actually planning. Do you believe that they were trying to actually plan a pay-per-view around Severn and Shamrock? By the way,
They did try it, didn't they? but it just never pans out. The thing was, for some reason, Dan Severn never translated into wrestling what he'd done in MMA. And I remember watching an interview. I can't remember who the interview was with, but I remember watching an interview a while back, and they were saying that Dan Severn backstage had a load of charisma and was a really nice guy. But for whatever reason, he couldn't get that onto the screen.
Wasn't Cornette his manager?
For a small while, yes.
So you didn't need a mouthpiece. And then afterwards, it's like, what do you do from here? It's like we discussed Steve Black. We discussed Steve Blackman, I think, last week, where the gimmick was the cheese, but the gimmick was the fact that he doesn't need a gimmick. You could have applied it here too. Same thing. I think once he saw the Brawl for All, Severn's like, I'm done. I can't. Yeah. I'm out. He backed out, one of those. So, and this is around that same time period. But yeah, Severn comes in here. Severn's a beast. I think Rock knows it too. And actually, Rock was selling it. We have a little bit of distraction going on here from Godfather and Mark Henry. But probably the biggest distraction was the biggest debut of the Attitude Era. And that was the chess piece from D'Lo Brown.
Yeah.
D'Lo Brown.
That's it. Yeah, he brought out that he got the frog splash, didn't he, and cost Severn the match. Which I like this, I did like that chess piece. I thought it was awesome, and it got brought in quite a bit, didn't it, over the time, and I liked the whole way of that, and it protected Severn a little bit here as well. So obviously at the time they were still not done with Severn at this point.
No, right. I think it's also kind of a throwback, like signal of, all right, here's the chess piece. He's wearing it, and Ross over quite amount of time would say, well, he should be fully healed. I don't understand it. Well, Cowboy Bob Orton was certainly healed for a while, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he was brilliant.
So, Rock goes over here. Once again, Michael Cole. I'm not going to say peak Michael Cole yet because we got years for that. Yeah. But Michael Cole interviews The Rock. Rock is gassed the hell up. And he's just like, ugh, that's one tough son of a bitch out there. But, it's going on. Rock cuts a promo. I don't think he was expecting it either, because he looked at Cole like, why are you here? Shouldn't we be doing this in the back? Really good stuff, man. Good match here. Yeah. And it told a story, but is it going to is it telling a better story than the next match?
No, this next match was brilliant. Do you know what? Everybody at the time, and even to this day, shits on this match, and I think, no, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Do you know what I mean? And this is what sports entertainment is all about. And I was buzzing with this one.
How about the video package in the beginning of this?
Yeah. That's what WWE do well across the board, don't they?
Come on. I did this. Like, I'm watching this. I'm like, oh, I remember that. I remember that. I remember that. I remember that. This is funny. This is really funny. I mean, then again, Al Snow dressing up the head as like he's driving a rickshaw. I mean, okay, that was funny. I'm not even going to lie. But you remember Al Snow wanted a job, and, he leached onto Jerry Lawler. And at that moment, I remember, I'm like, you can't trust Jerry Lawler. He's got a son there. You got too much. You got Brian Christopher, Scott Taylor. And then they would, this is before they became Too Cool, what was the gimmick of Too Cool, by the way?
They were just too cool. The worm, the dancing. It was not really. It was great, though.
Of course, cool. Right. Yeah, but Too Much was just heel tag team. Very, talented. Scott Taylor, obviously. Excuse me. Scott Taylor, very, very talented as well. I'm speaking like I just took up some of David Boy Smith's drug pain relievers. Oh, shit. My bad. By the way, shout out to WrestleBuds for the threads. Beware of dog, my friend. So we got a 2-on-1, and then all of a sudden we find out we have a special guest referee, Jerry Lawler. And it's full blown, like, it's not a secret that he's the dad of Brian Christopher at the time, right?
Yep.
All
the crowds used to start singing Jerry's kid, and you go, I don't know what they're on about.
Jerry's kids. Hey, what's got 2,000 legs and can't walk?
Go on.
Jerry's kids.
Fucking hell. Oh, dear God.
Well,
the
God had
finish.
nothing to do with that one. God had nothing to do with
Well,
that.
Jerry keeps on screwing over Al Snow in this match, doesn't he? And then, but let's not forget, it was Al Snow and Head, and this is a very critical thing in this match.
The hot tag, the Head was the funniest thing. Pittsburgh was loving this, dude. Oh my God, they ate.
Do you ever remember Head on the Attitude Game? We had like that kind of fake weird body on him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But didn't they, when they did, if I remember, if in WrestleMania 2000, didn't you start off the match, if you were Al Snow, you had Head, and if you dropped him, he would just vanish, right?
Yeah. But in the WWE Attitude Game, he had the like kind of hologram body on him, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, the end comes on this match as Al Snow gets took out the way. Brian Christopher attaches a bottle of Head and Shoulders to Head and then pins the shoulders to get the pin. Oh, so good.
Al Snow
good.
is pinning Scott Taylor at the time. Brian Christopher is pinning Head and Shoulders on him. And Jerry counts to 3. Al thinks he won. Turns around, sees Brian Christopher's hand getting raised. Al Snow, give him credit, knew where the camera was. Picks up the Head and Shoulders and goes, Head and Shoulders. Ah.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
And shout out to Jim Ross calling this. Jim Ross was on cue with, thank God I will never see anything like that ever again, because he knew how much satire that was. And he was, and you hear him go, I can't believe I just said that, folks. The Head is at the, and you know this is before where he currently is employed, ever called him up. And now he's just,
the thing is though, even AEW, he shits on things if he just doesn't like it, doesn't he?
But the difference is that they plan this shit to be a joke in WWE. In this, he knows that it's not a joke, some of this stuff, and they think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, well. Right, let's go on to the next match then. We've got X-Pac, the best match on the card. X-Pac with Chyna defeats Owen Hart. What a match.
All right. I'm not going to say best match on the card.
It was.
Without a gimmick?
Wrestling match.
Okay, good. All right. I will see you there. And they weren't at their best either. But you wouldn't know that.
Nope.
A modern day wrestling fan right now would not know that. But we've seen these guys have better matches, but they work so well with each other. The ending got a little fishy. It didn't.
Yeah.
The ending got really weird while they're both on the turnbuckle, and you saw Owen was like, yo, what the fuck are we doing up here?
It was just kind of crazy as well. I mean, like the way that Vader come out and it's like, what the, like, and then him and Mark Henry going at it. It just got clunky. The finish did get clunky.
Yeah, I was like, why is Vader out here? He came out of nowhere. This guy should have been in a match in every pay-per-view. I'm sorry, like, it's Vader. Like,
yeah,
come on, dude.
He could move for the big guy. He was massive, wasn't he?
Do you think?
He was so spit. He could move.
Yeah, he was just talented. Do you think Nikki Bella is still waiting for his Hall of Fame acceptance speech?
Probably. We've seen they just announced on the A&E. Do loads of documentaries to do him. Goldberg's got one. The Bellas have got one.
Yeah. Lex.
Yeah, fuck him. He should be getting no money off anybody. Scumbag.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. He's part of Jerry's kids too. So
can't stand him. But anyway, the end comes when Owen Hart launches in the sharpshooter. referee's distracted by the goings on with Vader and Henry, and then China comes in, DDT, and Xbox get the win. Not mad at the finish. Didn't like the whole Vader Henry stuff and all that, but
Not
the
needed.
actual bit where he's getting the the DDT and stuff, that bit doesn't really bother me too much.
It does, only because it's like now you're selling over that China is stronger than everybody else there. So her finish puts X-Pac over. Like X-Pac could have done like a moonsault or something to pin him, to, I don't know, to spice up the finish. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm this is the nail in the coffin. I just don't like the fact that you had Owen sell. Here we are. We did the tournament last week with Owen winning, and then here he is a few years later, and all of a sudden a DDT, and we have to wait 30 seconds for a freaking pin, and he's
do you know with Owen? I just want to ask you one question with Owen, right? Because he kept saying he didn't know what to do with him during the Attitude Era and all like that, but they had the Black Hawk gimmick. Do you feel like they didn't know what to do with him, or do you think that they just didn't want to do anything with him because he wouldn't?
Both, without a doubt, both. Without a doubt, both. I think that Michaels was also around there too, and I think there was a lot of. I like the fact that they turned him heel and they kind of had him in with the Nation of Domination at that point too.
Yeah.
I really think that he was doomed because he was the last heart there.
Yeah. And do you think they just wanted him? But the thing is, annoys me is, why didn't they just release him from his contract then, if that was the case? Do you think that was more of Vince just being stubborn?
Vince knew that if he'd go to WCW, could you imagine the numbers that they have if they were recreating what they had a year prior?
Yeah.
Think of the money that they could have made. And remember, this is how far removed from, Survivor Series 97. We're talking about not even a year later.
Yeah.
So they kind of had him in neutral, but at least you had him facing guys like X-Pac. It could have been worse.
It's some good matches, isn't it? But anyway, we move on to our next match. We've got the New Age Outlaws, awesome, Billy and Road Dogg, against the Midnight Express, or the new Midnight Express, should we say, Bodacious Bart and Bombastic Bob Holly.
James E. Cornette had to call up the old Midnight Express. He had to call up Bobby Eaton for praise. I think he called up Dennis as well to say, hey, is this okay? And they said, yeah, as long as it doesn't shit on the name. Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah, I know you don't like Bob. I like Bart. Bart's going to have more of a legacy carved out for him in a couple months from here. Just really weird. It's actually a good match.
Yeah, and it wasn't a bad match. Again, there was shit finish.
You know why, right?
Because
China missed her fucking cue.
Yeah.
China took forever, and Cornette's sitting there with a racket for about 20 some odd fucking seconds, and it's like, dude, like, come on, like, where are you?
I know, but again, it's like China had an effect in the last match. Now she's had an effect in this match. It's like, how many times can you do the same thing? And that's what annoyed me with this, and that's what I put on my notes here. Is like, you can't just keep on doing the same thing over and over again.
This is a second appearance. She's gonna come out a third time later on. So why is this happening? Like, we don't need her. You don't need to do this. No. It's like if I can understand if Miss Elizabeth came out for Macho Man and she came out for Hogan. Okay. But she's not getting involved. She is the storyline in that point. But she's doing so much already. It's just like, she's not the equalizer. She's the one screwing things up.
Yeah, and she's just there, isn't she?
Yeah, I'm just not a fan, man. It's you know what?
It's not that I want to shit on China. It's just I don't think she should be overexposed like this. Do you know what I mean? And you're doing the same finish twice in a row where China's the one that's costed the two matches. And it's like, don't do it. Even if you would have done one at the first and then one in the 6 matches, okay, not too bad. Do you know what I mean? But when you're doing it like this,
you know what happened?
It's not for me.
You know what happened, man? Vince Russo. And Russo also seeing how every single match on Nitro was interfered with.
Yeah.
Sad to say.
Move on to the final. Obviously, the New Agents Outlaws retain with the help from China on this one. Not a bad match at all, but not special either. Ken Shamrock versus The Rock next in the King of the Ring finals. I think this pay-per-view overall always gets forgotten that it's actually got the King of the Ring tournament in it. And I feel sorry for Shamrock here because up until this point, I believe most people who'd won King of the Ring had got a benefit out of it. But after this one, I don't think Shamrock got any benefit over becoming King of the Ring here, do
you? When you look at his accolades in wrestling, you don't think of, King of the Ring winner.
No, but because the thing is, no disrespect, but you look at even Mabel, got a good run out of it, didn't he? No, but he did though, didn't he?
He did.
He got a good run out of it. You've got Owen Hart, obviously. Bret Hart had set him on a path, didn't he? He was champion not long after. People got up until this point, people kind of got something out of King of the Ring where he didn't.
You know why, right? Look at everybody that won that.
Right.
They then became a Regal-esque character, correct? King Booker.
Yeah.
Look at Apollo Creed. Look at not Apollo Crews. What the fuck? Xavier Woods.
Yeah.
He's got that king thing and he's hamming it up, man. And Shamrock's not going to go out there wearing a robe. Well, no. Actually, he'll go out there wearing a crown. He's not going to do that.
But the thing is, that's the thing though. If he's not going to if it's not going to benefit him, why put him in it?
Who would win in that tournament then? Who would win in that tournament?
You could have had Jeff Jarrett win it. You could have had The Rock win it.
King Jeff?
You know what I mean?
All right, let's look at the brackets here.
Well, you could have done Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett is in I'm the new King of Tennessee. I'm the king of, Elvis type of deal.
I'm looking. Here's the first round, okay? Here's the first round because this pay-per-view showed the quarterfinals, okay?
Yeah.
Vader Rock, Triple H X-Pac. That's interesting. Oh, it's a count out. Yeah. All right. So Owen Hart, Scorpio. Okay. D'Lo Brown, Dan Severn. Shamrock versus Kama. That had to tell a story, so that's correct. I like that. Mark Henry versus Terry Funk. Jeff Jarrett versus Farouk. Mark Mero versus Steve Blackman. I am counting 1, 2. Okay. I'll give you 2 guys that are in that, okay? Jeff Jarrett, like you said, that would shoot him straight up, especially with this NWA angle looming.
Yeah, and the King of Memphis and all this.
One other thing. Yeah, well, that would kind of, I think there was somebody that's there that wouldn't like that, would they? One other person on there. Mark Mero.
Yeah.
I forgot what was going on at this point, but what else are you doing with him?
Yeah.
Let's not say he wasn't talented. We forgot to touch on one thing though. Vince McMahon came out. Sable introduced Vince McMahon to come out. And Sable comes out and says, "Here comes Vince McMahon." This is before the No Chance in Hell music, so it was weird because it was just silence. As Sable's getting out of the ring, Pat Patterson slaps her on the ass. She turns around, and man, did she hit him. Vince McMahon then, goes, all right, starts talking about you're going to be disappointed with the finale of this match. I just wanted to bring it up. I know we're not at that match yet, but just want to bring it up how this is really where Vince is starting to milk the crowd. This was a huge litmus test on hating the crowd. So big ups to him. And good job for Pat Patterson here.
That's it. Well, we come to the co-main event of the evening. Might not be dubbed as the co-main event, but it is to me. And what a match it was. Even from the start, the way they went up there and they just took Hell in a Cell to a whole new level. just unbelievable. And, Vince McMahon even says himself, doesn't he, that this was one of the pivotal moments in changing the whole kind of swing in the Monday Night Wars, was this match.
Shawn Michaels claimed to say that this was only a couple of spots, this match.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was not. We fully disagree with that. This was a match. Remember, it didn't even get started.
No.
It didn't even get started until two different mishaps. We're not going to really go too into it. I'm sure everybody that's watching us has seen it. We don't need to really describe it.
I still love that iconic thing of they killed him. They killed him.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah. What I think the hardest thing for me to watch is seeing the chair land on Mick when he went through the cage.
Yeah, and the see-throughs. Yeah.
Everything was visual. We talked about it, how sometimes you just make moments.
Well, do you know what I found out when I watched the documentary thing on it was Undertaker actually had a broken foot in that match before the match started.
Yeah, he didn't come out on Rampage a couple days later and said how he's going to be missing 6 months.
Yeah.
He continued with the freaking match, and it's just amazing to me because you saw when he landed and he goes, "Damn it!" But that's
yeah. That's it. But all in all, it was an awesome match. Undertaker, obviously, we know gets the win. Just iconic, even to this day. It's so iconic, isn't it?
And Ross definitely helped out with how the hell is that man standing as Foley gets up off the stretcher. Everything was just visual.
And do you know what I like about this, right? It shows you the absolute professional and experience Foley had, where like when his lips hanging out, his teeth through his nose, and he finds the camera and he's looking at it, and then when he gets off the stretcher, and he's looking for the camera straight away, and he pulls the faces and everything else, and that's just instinct, man. That's just proper instinct.
I agree. And we talked about it with Al Snow too prior. And those guys are the best friends. I will say it's just you have to have some sort of element of technology there, and also production value that you're stressing to the talent in this point. Give credit to Undertaker playing it up to the crowd, but doing these grand gestures like at the very end of the match after he choke slams Mankind through the thumbtacks. Okay, you just see him do this, and you're knowing it. This crowd is still nobody's sitting for this match, and there's no holy shit chance. There's no this is awesome. There is no fight forever, which is the stupidest chant I've ever heard in my life. I hate it. Don't you want a winner? Why do you want to see him fight forever? Don't you want to see an outcome? No, we just want to keep seeing. Yes, exactly. Yes, we want to see the chariot. That's like the Pope Mobile, by the way. Anyway, a fantastic match.
Yeah. And we're going to go on to from the fantastics to the absolutely stupid. Probably the stupidest title match Austin ever had. And it's not because the match was okay. Austin always tried his best, didn't he? We had Mankind come back out, which was crazy considering what he'd just been through. And Undertaker come out as well, so them two actually flow into this main event, which I'm not bothered by. But let me ask you one question, right? Just behind your head there, to your right on my side, there is Kane there, right? Where on earth is he meant to fucking bleed from in a first blood match?
I think this is where he had the right arm, correct? You knew. Come on. That's why it's just like...
That's what I mean. It was stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why it was stupid, because even Andy, young Andy at that age, right? So 99, we're talking, I was 14, right? And sorry, 98, I was about 13 I was, 98. Now, even 13-year-old Andy knew Austin was losing the belt. Because even then, logically, I couldn't understand why how he was going to bleed to lose.
Even my thoughts, too. I said, this guy wears saran wrap. Austin wears underwear. How are you going to know if Kane's
He wears a big
bleeding?
red mask and that he doesn't. Do you know what I mean?
And Blent, you knew it was set up in the beginning, and you're trying to figure out and that was the good thing about WWE.
Mm.
They made you expect hey, wait, something could happen.
Yeah.
Kane did light himself on fire. That was the other thing. If
Yeah.
he lost, he was going to light himself on fire.
Mm.
We're not going to see that. So it's just let's
As,
just
we,
keep him
as we
step.
had, but we'd had the Inferno match at this point, hadn't we? When Kane was on fire on it, so I don't think
But
that was.
he was going to douse himself anyway. I
Mm.
don't get it. And
Yeah, but
we
we had
talked
already
about,
seen him on fire, so maybe that's
but he was going to,
believable.
Andy, are you, Andrew, are we going to pour gasoline on ourselves and just have a lighter and be like, oh, here we go? And then we could scream something like, it's all for you, Damien. It's all for you.
Well, with a mask on and all like that, he might have been able to pull it off somehow.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Look, that's like how Eddie Kingston came out. And like I said, that match was hot garbage from that pay-per-view. But you ended up getting a photograph of Eddie Kingston coming out with a gasoline tank. It's all they needed. That's
Yeah.
all they needed because you put over somebody with that. But they won't know what to do with it.
No.
But anyway, this match comes out. You have Mankind coming back out. And I think Jim Ross is just like, Mick, go the fuck home, dude. We don't need you anymore.
Oh, it was brilliant. But
Yeah,
he goes out.
Undertaker
Comes out.
Hits Austin with the hits Austin with the cage. The cage did lower, by the way.
Yeah.
He hits Austin with the chair. Austin starts bleeding. Awesome imagery though, awesome image that you see.
He was always a good bleeder, wasn't he, Austin?
Yeah, that was a gash and a half.
Yeah.
We went over was it Backlash or what did we go over with JBL and Guerrero with the cut?
Oh, it was Backlash, yeah.
Yeah,
it was Backlash, wasn't it?
Something like that. I forget. But we saw that was a bad scrape job there by Guerrero. But then we're watching this one. It's just like, man, Austin just knows how to bleed, dude. And he's still fighting Kane, fighting. And Hebner all of a sudden sees Austin, rings the bell. And it's not that shock look of, oh my God, there's blood. Let me call for the match. Hebner calls for the bell right away. It's not that over dramatic pantomiming that, certain referees today have. It's like, we know the story, we know the outcome. You don't need to be like, oh my God, Hebner calls for the bell. Austin's pissed. Austin's pissed at the world. You have a new champion. Paul Bear is just thankful that his kayfabe son isn't going to light himself on fire and doesn't need to get a dust mop to actually clean him up later on when he burned himself. So I just realized I'm looking in here. I look like a Ring of Honor Cesaro. Jesus Christ, what am I doing to myself? But anyway, yeah, the guy needs a job. You knew though the next day on Raw what's going to happen. The shortest title reign ever. That didn't take place the same night. Kane loses clean to Austin. You still had a lot of mileage to go with the Kane
Undertaker story. He actually come back around again, didn't he? Not long after this.
Yeah, correct. And it's probably the greatest story ever told. One of them. Correct? Would you put that up there?
I put that up there at the first run, but after that, I think they milked it far too much.
Yeah, and then the Brothers of Destruction and stuff like that. I like that.
That was pretty cool. That was cool.
Yeah,
but every now and again we get Kane Undertaker again, and it was like, oh, fucking hell, how many times? But one thing I will say, it was the best big man match I'd seen, and pretty much the two of them. They always had a good match.
Yeah, look, I was at 20 when Undertaker came back, and you knew he needed to face Kane because there was a story about that. Not the best match. It was just we want to talk about it. Spots. And it's just, you wanted to see it, and it was a spectacle, something I'll never forget, especially not thinking that Paul Bear was going to be there. Were you freaked out by a Percy Pringle with brown hair?
No, I liked it.
Yeah. Thought it was natural.
I liked it. Right, so out to this pay-per-view, out of 5, what are we giving it, Dale?
We do 10 here, Andy.
Oh, we do 10, don't we? Yeah, fuck Melter.
We're going to go 8. I'm going with 8, and I'll tell you why. I mean, you could give 5 just on the Hell in a Cell. You had stories here. I wanted to point out that I will deduct it points because there's one thing we find out that Triple H cannot do. Get him off an announce table. He was atrocious on there. He was just like, he was not funny. He really isn't a naturally funny guy. Even when he tries to ham it up when he did that DX2 thing, you know, when they came back against the Spirit Squad.
Yeah, no,
and
he wasn't that funny, was he?
With the cock jokes and stuff like that, it's like, we get it. Cheap.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give it a 6.
Why is that?
Because I feel like if you take away the Undertaker Mankind match on here, it's just a normal, okay pay-per-view. There's not really a lot on there.
That's fair. I'll give it a 7 then. You know what? I'll go that because you know you're the Grim Reaper of these pay-per-view reviews that we do.
Don't get me wrong, it was a great pay-per-view, but I feel like it was just kind of apart from the Hell in a Cell match. I think everything else was just all right.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like, look, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I think that a lot of people will get that nostalgia factor for it. I mean, even when you have the opening bout, which is going to be, you know, the Michinoku and the, I was going to say the head shrinkers, but the headbangers come out there. It's just really fun. It was just a really fun, pay-per-view just to start it off. So, but final thoughts. Yeah, 7. 7's a good call, my man. 7 is actually pretty solid.
Okay. Right, well, guys, let us know what you think of this pay-per-view in the comment section. It's a really good pay-per-view, and I feel like people are always misconcepted because they always just want to watch the Mankind Undertaker match. But there's some really good, solid matches on there, isn't there, Dale?
You're not going to turn this on and then just be like, this sucks. You know, you're not going to turn this on and then be instantaneously like turned off. I will say, if you're looking for Sunny, if you're looking for any of those women on here, you're not going to get it. You know, you're just going to see Sable come out there, and Sable was an attractive woman. She did a lot to kill the business and kill a lot of people's career at this point.
Yeah, including the husband.
Ugh. Like I said, if you look in a nutshell, he could have won this, and it could have done something to him. Were they going to do it? Fuck no, they weren't going to do that shit. Andy,
right, guys. Anyway,
Andy, we're still
wrap it up here.
We're still in June, right? So I get the pick.
Oh yeah. Go on.
Yeah, really. What are you looking at? Like, what are you thinking?
I don't know. I think it's not my pick, is it?
Do we have to go back into WCW again?
Ooh. Be very careful, Dale.
Why?
Because June and WCW don't really melee very well.
Why? There's a couple of different out there, I would say. But let's take a look here. So you were looking for a WCW pay-per-view from June. Is that right?
Well, that's what you're saying, boy.
No. But you know what? Let me take a look into this. Okay. This will be determined, folks, because I don't want to keep you hanging on here by a thread. But what were you thinking? Did you want to do another King of the Ring? Do the people want to do another King of the Ring?
How about the Great American Bash?
Yeah. And how about one that I went to? I'm trying to think if it went into the year. If this was in June. No, it wasn't. Nah. All right. So you know what? Let's do another one. Let's do another King of the Ring, okay?
Mm-hmm. Go on.
Because so we're gonna do King of the Ring. We're getting requests. Teddy Funk's trainers. Okay. All right. Let's go into Teddy Funk's trainers, okay? because Terry. Look, Terry Funk sneakers fell off, and Mick Foley. The first thing he said was, "I had no idea that whose sneakers they were." That's what freaked me out the most. I love that. That's a great call, man. That was a great call.
It was when he got chokeslammed, and he literally just the way he perfectly sat there, didn't he?
The twitch.
I
The
just shot that
was,
Ned.
Yeah, that was awesome. Awesome, by the
And
way.
you know what? To be fair to Terry Funk, though, by doing that as well, he didn't half give him Mankind some time as well, didn't he? It was really well thought, because obviously that was not meant to happen. It was just on the fly, but
yeah, exactly. But he kind of twists. I forgot about the angle because he did this like convulsing twist. It was just fantastic. Yeah. We're gonna go into either Great American Bash, or we're gonna do actual, or we're gonna actually do another one. We're gonna do King of the Ring. You know what? Which one do you want to do? King of the Ring or Great American Bash?
It's your choice. It's your turn this time now.
You really want me to kill you, don't you?
Well, I'm just gonna get you back.
Oh, stop it. You're not gonna get me back. Look, you haven't got me back. You thought that you were gonna pull out some sort of, magic the other day.
Oh no, I tried to be nice to you, but it's war now.
Well,
right, come on then. What are we going for?
All right. Didn't a certain team debut at a Great American Bash?
Fucking hell. There we go.
Well, there it is, folks. There it is, folks. Well, to be determined, folks. We won't leave you here. But look, Terry Funk Sneakers and us here at Transatlantic Wrestling Talk, thank you for watching. And we will come back to you next week with either WCW or another King of the Ring, folks.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, like the video, subscribe to the channel, guys, all that good stuff, because it really helps support us. So we appreciate you. And from me and Dale, until next time, goodbye.
See you later.